If you're developing a new income stream, it takes marketing, sales, operations, inventory management, leadership, networking, accounting, and so much more. It can be quite difficult, it can be time consuming. Regardless of how long you think it might take to learn these skills, believe me, it takes longer and a lot more work because you haven't seen it like this before. So it's helpful for us to have the right perspective when we are talking about going for financial freedom. Because this is not a 3-month journey or a 2-year journey. It takes years, 5 years, 10 years. And to be able to do it over 10 years requires the right perspective so that you don't get burnt out. So let's talk about that for a second. Now the good thing is that all of these skills can be learned from YouTube University. YouTube University, one of my favorites. Just go onto YouTube, look at the skill. But we're going to talk about what that looks like. And actually, let me stop here for a second because I'm going to give you a little bit of a story from me, right? So when I started my real estate management company, I was behind on revenue for maybe 2 years. I wasn't where I wanted to be financially. In fact, I didn't achieve 6 figures until the end of year 2, going into year 3. And I felt like I wouldn't make it many times. But I remember that there was a friend who stopped me and showed me that at the end of year 1, right, at the beginning of year 2, I had more clients than when I started with, and that was progress. I had more than one client, right? Which meant that if I was only looking at revenue, I would have felt discouraged. But if I were looking at the right number, then, hey, that's not too bad. No, of course, it doesn't mean I became complacent. It just meant that, hey, don't give up, because you are actually making progress if you look at it from the correct perspective. Sometimes it helps to have that correct perspective. And so that's why this has become so important, and then my team and I, we put this together. So, from almost moving up to getting here to be able to give this to you, I think it is helpful to definitely have the right perspective. My point is, if I just focus on revenue, I would perhaps not be here today. So, here's a question I want to ask. Ask yourself, in your business, what is the number that if I focus on this one number, then everything else in my business will fall into place? For example, if you're on YouTube, is it views? Is it engagement? Is it saves? Is it likes? Is it shares? Is it downloads? Is it orders? Is it reviews? If I focused on this one number, everything else would fall into place. And then once you identify that one number, put all your effort into that one number. Research how to improve that number. Use Google, right? Research using books. Ask questions of mentors. We already talked about how to find those people earlier in the challenge. Find every way that you can to improve that number and attack that number head on. And once you see that number start improving, then let everything else take care of itself. There are 3 questions I want you to ask yourself. 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself that I ask myself when you are preparing for your freedom financial journey. These are very important questions, and it will give you the conviction to keep going. And I want you to write them down because this is going to be a part of your homework. Write them down. 3 questions. Get ready. The first is, do I want 10 more years of the last 10 years? Look at the last 10 years of your life. Ask yourself if you want 10 more of that. If the answer is no, then you are in the right place. You are looking to change, you are looking to grow. And that's what we are here for. Next question. If this doesn't work out, what's the worst that can happen? And am I prepared with a backup plan? If you don't achieve financial freedom in 10 years, 15 years, then what happens? Do you go back to a 9-to-5? Is that the worst thing in the world? No. Okay, then let's say it's worse than that. Can you come up with a plan in case that happens? And then set aside the plan and go forward with your financial freedom journey 110%. Because if you have plan B, C, and D, but then focus on plan A 100%, it's likely that you'll never even need plan B, C, and D. Stick to plan A. Again, imagine the worst case scenario, really, truly. Because when I left, I realized that, hey, if this doesn't work out, well, I guess I'm going to drive taxi and just keep going trying to figure it out, drive a cab. No matter how long it took me to get to financial freedom, it would be worth it. And that's the decision I took. I can handle the worst, so I'm going for the best. And that perspective does keep you grounded. So that's the second question. The third question, again, write this down. Can you see the end result of your new life clearly? One of the things that you'll find is a common trait among successful people is their ability to visualize a future that does not yet exist. Think of Steve Jobs, imagining everyone in the world pretty much having an iPhone. Think of the founder of McDonald's. Think of these people, Ray Kroc, right? Think of these people who have achieved monumental success and literally changed the entire globe. Their visualization power is immense, and you must have it for your life too. You must be able to see clearly what it is that you are trying to do. Again, going back to the compass analogy, which we talked about earlier in the challenge, if you have the right compass, then you will know where you are going. This is very important. If you can't, maybe you haven't done enough research, and I suggest you look at the entire process and really nail down visually what will it look like, what will it smell like, what will it feel like to achieve your goal, financial freedom. What will your new life look like? Where will you live? Who will be there? What kind of clothes will you have? What kind of car will you be driving? What kind of house will you be driving? What will you be doing day to day? How will you feel? What will your smile look like? How will you talk? Who will you associate with? You need to think about these things and really have it clear. Fantastic. So, I want you to think about this. Why is it important to have that type of clarity? Have you ever been on the airplane, right? And the pilot comes on and says, good evening passengers. We are approaching cruising altitude. There is sunny skies for the most part for the next half an hour or so. In a few minutes after that, we're going to experience some cloudy skies. There will be a bit of choppy. I will tell you when the seatbelt sign comes on. It shouldn't be too bad. It should last maybe about 15 to 20 minutes. Once we get through that, we should be all clear, and we'll get you there as soon as possible. Thank you for flying with us, and welcome aboard. How does that make you feel? The pilot has a plan. They know what they're doing. They've told you what the worst is going to be. Now you expect it. When turbulence comes, it's not a shock, right? I know people don't like turbulence, but the point is, if you can prepare for the worst, and you can see the end result, and the pilot is telling you, don't worry, we got this, and we're still sticking to the plan, it makes you feel better. That is why they do it. So then likewise, you need to have it for yourself because you are the pilot for your own life. Fantastic. The only way to achieve your life of freedom is to decide that this is what you want. If you don't decide, which means that this is what I'm doing, everything else gets a no. If you don't decide, you won't get it. So I'm asking you to decide. I'm asking you to decide now. Decide. This is what you want to do. This is your goal. This is your journey. This is for you, not me, not for your kids, not for anybody else, right? This is for you. This is your journey. So, here's a perspective shift that I want you to have, because if you're going to do this over 10 years, over 5 years, over 7, 3 years, whatever it takes you, 15 years, then you need to be asking yourself this question, not only what we've talked about so far, but this is one solo perspective shift that I think has helped me tremendously and also the people that I speak with, including my team. Instead of focusing on the big picture every day, which is the goal, instead of focusing on that, I want you to focus on the day-to-day habits that you are doing. How are you spending your time daily? So what does that look like? Forget about the big picture. Write it down, yes, you know where you're going. Once you come up with your plan, and then forget about it. Really, forget about it. Because what you are looking at now is, did I do what I'm supposed to do today? And that's it. It's the day-to-day habits, routines, and discipline that gets you the big picture. So then forget about the big picture and focus on your day-to-day. It allows you to live in the moment, and it gives you the courage to take each day by day, week by week, actually not week by week, day by day, seriously, and max out every day. See, the brain can only focus on one thing at a time. It can't focus on the big picture and the now. So then which makes more sense to focus on? Which requires your energy right now? Now. That's right. And so, If you focus on the now, you will get so much more results. You get them faster without feeling less overwhelmed because you can focus on incremental changes. I just want to say here, just before I get to your homework, that you already know that I have a free newsletter. If you've been getting value from the challenge so far, I want you to go and sign up for Full Thinking newsletter. I talk about these things every single week for your benefit, and I want you to be able to continue to learn about freedom philosophy, about the full movement, and about financial freedom. These things are very important, and I want you to stay connected with me. So if you have your phone right now, if you're on your laptop, just start a new tab, go to your browser, type in Kadeem Leslie Full Thinking Newsletter, and sign up for that newsletter. It's very important. I want you to stay connected so that we can keep this communication going. Okay? Fantastic. And also, just as a hint, at the end of every year, we send 2 subscribers on vacation. And we're doing that at the end of 2023, 2024, and we'll keep doing that for as long as we have this newsletter open. It's fantastic. Okay, great. So here we go. For your homework today, it's multifaceted, but it starts with looking at your schedule. Time is very important, and I need to make sure that you are spending your time correctly because we're not looking at the big goal, we're not looking at the big picture, we're looking at your daily routine. So here we go. Look at your schedule candidly. Honestly, how many hours in the last week did you dedicate towards building the life of your dreams? These are questions that you're going to ask yourself at homework. And you can come back to this after so that you don't forget, or you can write down the questions now. How many hours did you dedicate in the last week towards building the life that you desire? Identify how many habits you already have implemented during your week to help you maintain your freedom and attain your freedom, How many habits have you already built in? Identify new habits that you would like to implement to achieve your financial freedom. Look at your time and identify the new habits that you want to plug in for the next week, for the next 2 weeks, for the next month to achieve your financial freedom. Identify some new habits. You are talking about consistency here. For example, if you are starting YouTube, what you need to do every day. Perhaps you have a content day. My content day tends to be Thursday. Record on Thursday and never miss a Thursday. If you are an author, you want to become an author, no problem. What do you need to do every day? What do you need to do every week? If you are building an e-commerce store, if you're going for real estate, if you're going for ATMs, vending machines, what do you need to do to be able to achieve that? What do you need to be doing every day to be able to achieve that? That is the goal that you are writing down right now. It is a daily, routine, boring things that gets you the life of your dreams. This is the part that's unsexy. But if you can do this, what's on the other side is glorious. Fantastic. Freedom seekers, remember, this is about your financial freedom journey. You are always one decision away. I will see you tomorrow.